Malu, get off TikTok. I've sold that phone. Sorry.
Hello there. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to sell step by step on eBay. Today we're going to be selling this old phone here. This is a Sony Xperia E3. If you want a detailed written guide on how to sell on eBay step by step, I'll leave a link to the article I've written on my website. It'll be in the description below, so be sure to check that out at the end of the video. Before we jump into eBay, there's a few things we need to do first. The first thing you need to do is check the condition of the item. So in this case, our phone's been in a case since day one. It's in pretty good nick. It does have one little corner missing out of it though, and the corners are slightly discoloured. Apart from that, it's a good phone in good working order. The second thing we need to do is weigh it. I've already weighed this, so I know it weighs 150 grams. We'll need that information later. The third thing you need to do is take photos of it. So I've already taken some pictures, and you need to take pictures of every side of it, and you need to take pictures of any problems with it as well. So I've taken pictures of this slightly dodgy looking corner. And the last thing you need to do is find out how much it's worth. So that's what we're going to do now. To find out how much this phone's worth, I'm going to come over to eBay and type the name of it in and see how much they're selling for on eBay already. So Sony Xperia E3. Okay, it's in mobile and smartphones, which is good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to try and find the sold items button, because all these prices just tell me what other people are trying to sell them for. They don't tell me what they're actually selling for. Okay, so there's one for £25, £20, £75, £20, £45. Okay, so anything from 20 to 70 appears to be the going rate. Okay, 75 is for a brand new one, unopened. £20 is for a well-worn one. Mine's got a little problem, so it's somewhere in between those. Okay, so I'm going to say £40. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to assume that you've already got an eBay account and a PayPal account. If you haven't, don't worry, they're really easy to sign up for, so go and do that first, and then come back to here. So, on with the video. To start selling, we're going to come up to here where it says sell at the top of the screen. Okay, that might take you straight through to the selling page, or it might bring you here to active listings, like it did for me. If that is the case, you come here and click create listing and choose single listing. That's going to take us through to this page where you have to tell eBay what you're saying, and what you're selling, and it's going to try and guess what it is. So I'm going to type in Sony Xperia E3 because that's what I'm selling, and it's picked it out here. And there's a few categories to choose from. So there's parts, there's cases, covers, which aren't the right one. This is a smartphone, so I'm going to pick smartphones. Okay, and what that's done is that's found the exact item that I'm selling. It's a white smartphone. And if I click select here, it's got all the kind of technical details from Sony about this phone. When it was brand new, it's got the model number, the memory, how many cores it's got, all sorts of information that I couldn't possibly know, or it would take me ages to find out. So what I would normally do now is click use this product, but for the sake of this video, I'm actually going to do continue without selecting a product, because a lot of the times when you're selling stuff, eBay doesn't know what it is. So by doing that, I'll get a few more options. Okay, this is the listing page. So this is where we actually put in all the details about the item we want to sell. It's quite a long page, but it's actually a lot faster to fill in than perhaps it looks at first. So don't worry, and we're going to go through it all step by step. Now, the first thing is the title. The title is really important because it's how your item gets found. So we need to put all the search terms in the title that we think people are going to use who might want to buy your item. So in my case, because it's a phone, I'm going to put the name of the phone and the model number. I'm going to put this in good condition. It's always a good idea to tell people just something good about your item, just to make it stand out from the other listings, which maybe only give it a description. So I've put some technical stuff. I've written it's a smartphone. I've given it the name. I don't know if this phone's unlocked, so I haven't put locked or unlocked. But if I did know, then I would put that. So I'm going to come a bit further down here. The next box you can fill in is the subtitle. I wouldn't bother with subtitle. They're quite expensive. They're not really worth it for very expensive items. And then the next one after that, the custom label, or SKU. That's mainly for people who sell a lot of items who have their own internal cataloguing systems, which help them find their item once it's been sold. So we can ignore that. The category. Now the category is also important. It's picked the category for us, and it's picked the right one, which is good. Another thing to note is that any phrases that are in the category are also counted in the search. So if someone searches for mobile phone, I haven't actually written mobile phone in here, I've written smartphone, but if someone searches for Sony mobile phone, my phone will come up in it because this has got mobile phone in the category. So it's just something you don't necessarily need to repeat any of the words that are in the category, because you've only got 80 characters in your title. Variations. So variations, if I had 5 phones to sell and they were 3 different colours, that's when you'd use variations. So you'd say, I'm selling a few of the same things, but they're all some of them a bit different. So we can ignore that for this go. Okay, the next item, the EAN. This is like the official product number or catalogue number. This is a bit temperamental, honestly, on eBay. The safest thing to do is have N/A. There you go, it knows I do it a lot. It'll update itself, and then it should let you just carry on. More often than not, even if I know the actual serial or model number of the item, or even if I think I do, eBay still rejects it and it won't let you carry on if you get that wrong. So it's best just to put not applicable, N/A. It doesn't do that for every item. It tends to be more modern items, particularly electronics, and often asking for books as well. Okay, for the condition, I've gone to town on it a bit, but what I've said is, said it's in good working order, which it is. Said it's excellent cosmetically, except for one tiny corner piece missing. As being in a case with screen protector from day one, other corners have discoloured faster than the case because they're a different material. So it's a little bit OTT. But I've tried. The first things I've said 2 positive things about it, and then I've said, this is the problem. So, and there are 2 problems after that, but they're fairly minor problems. But it's the kind of thing, if you pulled this phone out expecting it to be perfect, and you saw there was a corner missing off it, okay, you can hide it with a case, but still, it's you'd be pretty annoyed. So, got to be honest. Okay, the next thing to do is the photos. So hopefully you've already taken some photos. I'm going to drag my photos in now. So grab your photos from a folder, just hold them over this arrow where it says add photo and drop them there. Right then, all my photos are uploaded, and the first one there, under the first photo, you'll see it says main photo. Now this is the photo that people will see when they're scrolling through the search results, so you need to make it your best photo, and it is worth spending a bit of time editing it. So it's a white phone and a white space, and it looks a bit grey. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to crop it, so I'm going to get rid of some of the blank spaces around it. So I'm going to drag that there with my mouse, and I'm going to click save. Okay, so it's bigger already. Now the next button is rotate. I don't need to rotate it because it's the right way up. But again, if you've got sideways photos, nothing is more annoying when you're looking at people on people's items when they've not rotated it because it's so easy. Anyway, pet hate. Okay, adjust brightness and contrast. I don't tend to use this button because I tend to make it look worse. You can adjust it manually if you know what you're doing. I don't honestly, so I'm going to click cancel. And instead I'm going to use this button on the end, which is auto adjust. This usually makes it look better. Does it look better? Okay. It does make it look a bit better, only just though. Right, usually with other items, clicking that button makes them look a world better, but I think this is a white thing on a white thing, so maybe it doesn't look great. There's not much you can do with it. I'm going to click on it because it's kind of showing the screen off, showing you that you haven't got any major problems with it. So click on that. The other thing, this triangle, is the sharpen. So if you click on that, yeah, that's not having a massive effect. What it can do, oh, that's a bit better. It does tend to make your photo a bit grainy though. But in this case it does look a bit, making this colour look a bit sharper, so I'm going to do 100% on that. Save. Now, the other photos aren't as important. What I will mention is though, this phone has got a little corner missing off it. I've not put that on the first picture, I've put it on the second one, so I'm showing it clearly, it's just here. Ooh, you can see there, so it is there, I'm not hiding it, but I'm not putting it on the front picture for everyone to see straight away. So I'm not going to bother trimming the rest of the pictures because they're less important. The first one is really important. All I am going to do is click on the auto adjust, so I'm going to blitz all these and then we'll come back when I put them all. Okay, now moving on. The next area is item specifics. So eBay knew what this was, so it's actually populated most of it with the technical data. So I don't actually need to touch any of this. It's better. I'm going to click that. It's better to click to leave this alone than it is to fill it in and get it wrong, because then your item won't be as described. But it is worth filling these in because sometimes people can filter searches according to the items in this area. So, for instance, if you're selling trainers, let's say I was selling a pair of Nike trainers, it'd be size 10s, and somewhere in this area I'd have to click size 10, what kind of model they were. And when people are searching, they can actually filter by things like size or by the year they're made or what model they are. So it is worth filling these in if you can, but you don't have to. It's not the end of the world. So, and that brings us on to the item description. Okay, now when it comes to the item description, you've got to tell your prospective buyer several things about your item. The first thing I always do is tell them what it is exactly, so they don't, just in case they've clicked on lots of things and they're a bit confused. Oh, is this the blue one or brown one? So I tell them exactly what it is. You're going to tell them exactly what they're getting. So in this case, they're just getting a phone, but they might be getting a phone with some earphones and some a case and a box maybe. So if your item consists of lots of items, list them on bullets clearly, so they know what you're getting, they know what you're not getting. If you've got other things in the photos, you can say you're getting this, but you're not getting that. It's just a good practice to kind of outline exactly what people are getting. You need to tell them what condition it's in again. I know you've already told them, but it's always an idea. People don't always read the condition box because it's higher up out of sight. So a lot of people don't even read the description. But if you put it in the description and the condition box, they've got no excuses if they're not happy with it. It's also a good idea to tell them the good stuff about it. So tell them the technical specifications if it's got technical specifications. Tell them the dimensions if it's not already stated somewhere else. I mean, for my phone, I'm not going to tell them how big it is because it's phone shaped. It's how big that model is. They can go somewhere else to find that out. You need to tell them if you accept returns for an electronic item. I would usually accept returns, even as a private seller. As a business seller, you have to accept returns, but as a private seller, you don't. However, with things like electronics, it builds trust with the buyer. It makes you look a bit more legit if you say you accept returns. So I'm saying, yeah, it's a good phone. You can, if you don't like it, you can give it back to me because I'll sell it again because it's a great phone. So it's just a bit more professional and a bit. It just builds trust. It's just worth doing. If it gives you a one-up over someone who's saying no returns. And the last thing you need to do is tell them how they're going to get it. So in this case, I'm going to send it with some postage with a signature, probably by my Hermes. So I'm just going to tell them it's going to get there in 3 days. If you want it there next day, then it's going to cost you a bit extra. So, okay, so the first thing, we've got to tell them what it is. The easiest way to do that is just to scroll back up to the title and copy it. That's what I would have it doing. So I'll come down here, title. Okay, I'm gonna blitz through now, put in all the information I've just told you I'm gonna put in, and then we'll go through it when I've done it. Okay, I've written all my spiel out. So now what I'm gonna do is, as we go through it, I'm gonna come over here to the advanced editing button, and I'm just gonna spruce it up a bit, make some of it a bit more eye-catching. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that title there, I'm going to make it bold, I'm going to underline it, and I'm actually going to change the size and make it bigger. So the first line I've put in there, this is a great little phone, and I'm only selling it because I got an upgrade, which is kind of true. The next line, I've kind of paraphrased the condition again, but I've tried to make it, try to sell the good points of the phone better and downplay the fact that it's missing all these little rubber corner units, which doesn't really matter that much, to be fair. So I've said it's been in the case since day one with a screen protector, but one of the little rubber pieces has come off. The other pieces have discoloured at a faster rate than the rest of the phone, so they look grey, whereas the phone still looks brilliant white. So I've even ended it on a high note about how amazing the rest of the phone looks. I'm gonna fold that up, and I might even make it a different colour just to highlight it, so kind of drawing people's attention to the good bit and taking it away. Next slide. Once it has a case on, you can't tell there was anything wrong with it. I had no idea it was lost until I took the case off to take the photos. So I'm just telling a bit of story there, which is true. I had no idea there was a corner missing, because it's literally had. It's had a case on all its life, and all the corners were sealed, so at some point someone's taken a case off and it's pinged this little rubber corner off it. And here I'm telling them this listing is for the phone only, no box or charging cables, so it's a bit of a downer, but then I'm saying it uses a standard mini USB to charge, which millions of Android phones do. They're very interchangeable, so it's again ending on a good note. So, postage will be by my Hermes for free. So again, highlighting the good bits, and that's it. Too bright, you want them to be able to actually see it. There's certain colours, dark blue and black works best on white. Other colours, I will use red sometimes. Like it's collection only, I'll put that in red because it really annoys me when people try and buy a collection only item from like the other side of the country. But yeah, blue I tend to just use blue or black for the most part. So my Hermes postage for free, or Royal Mail sign for / special delivery for a fee. The advantage of those things is that it gets there faster. Hermes will take about 3 days. Sign for will take 1 to 2 days. Special delivery, if I get to the post office on time, it will be there the next morning before lunchtime. So doing that, okay, it's a little bit slightly more effort, but it's it just gives you an advantage over the other people who can't be bothered to do it. Some people will be willing to pay. If someone just needs a phone, if their phone's down, they need a cheap phone. Some people, there will be a demand for that somewhere, so it's always worth sticking it in. I've put no international buyers. Normally, I encourage you to sell things abroad. In this case, because it's a phone aimed at the UK market, They don't necessarily transfer well. Sometimes they're like region locked and things like that. And also, phones are a magnet for thieves and scams. And there's an extra element to that when you send it abroad, because there's an extra lot of postage systems to go through. So for phones, I don't send them abroad. And there's some other things, but generally I would say it improves your chance of getting a sale if you offer to sell it abroad, and often you can sell it for a high price as well. But in this case, I won't be doing. And then last but not least, I put returns are accepted. So I'm just going to put a little blue thing. So a positive point. Okay, so that's the description. Right, the next area near there is the selling details. So here we have to choose whether it's going to be an auction or a fixed price listing. I'm actually going to do a fixed price listing, but I'm going to go through the auction style first because it changes the options, so I want you to see both of them. Okay, so I'm going to click auction style, and here we go. So it's the default setting is 7 days. If you do an auction for 7 days, you start at 99p, you won't pay any listing fees. If you set a starting price, I think it's above maybe £5, it might just be above 99p, you'll get charged a small fee. And if you change this duration to anything other than 7 days, then you'll get charged a fee as well. It won't be huge, we'll just check it out. We'll put it on 3 days. Okay, saving, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. Okay, so it's charged me 35p, but it thinks it will be. So I'm going to put it back on 7. One-day auctions are great if you need to sell something in a hurry, but it only really works if you know your item's in demand. Like this phone will probably sell quite well, even on a one-day auction. Things like iPhones will go, no problem. Other stuff, like things like furniture, stuff that's a bit slower to sell, clothes, some clothes anyway. A pair of night trainers will do quite well. An old pair of outer jeans, don't do that. Okay, so the next little box, start my listings when I submit them, or schedule to start. I always use schedule to start near enough, particularly for auctions. With an auction, nearly all the bidding happens in the last 2 hours, so the bulk of it does. So you want your auction to end at a time when most people are going to be online. So that's usually between, I'd say, 6 and 9 p.m. Right now it's about 9:30. By the time I've finished doing this, it might be near 10 o'clock, which is a bit too late really. So I would do this. You do sometimes get charged a fee, it might be like 15p or something. Sometimes it's free, so it's worth doing. So in this case, I would set this to start tomorrow, and I would put it down to 6 o'clock. Right, with the price, you've got 3 choices with an auction. You've got starting price for your auction, which is self-explanatory. You've got let's put 99p in there. The buy it now price. The buy it now price, you can put whatever you want in there. Let's say I want £45 for this phone. I could put that in there, but the buy it now price will disappear as soon as anyone makes a bid on your item. So the buy it now price is good on auctions because sometimes people see your item and they'll think, I want that, but I don't want to wait 7 days for all the bids, for the auction to end. I want it now. So it's a good way of selling your item, but just be aware that you can put £1,000 in there, but if you put 99p in there and someone bids on it, the auction is going to work its way up from 99p. So yeah, it's just something to bear in mind. The reserve price, I've never used this in anger. It's quite expensive. Fees, there are additional fees. You have to go in and search for what they are. But last time I checked, it was prohibitively expensive. So if let's say with this phone I had a reserve price in mind of say £20, so I won't take anything less than 20. It's just not worth it. What I would do is I would just start my auction at £20 and have done with it. If it didn't, if it didn't sell, I'd just let it relist, and maybe it'll sell next week. Maybe it'll sell at the end of the month when it's payday. But I wouldn't, I wouldn't use reserve price. It's just not worth it. So best offers will come in because I'm gonna use a fixed price listing for this, not an auction. So I'm gonna come up. Auctions are generally better for items where either you need the money soon, like in a week, sort of guaranteed, or as guaranteed as it can be, or your item's kind of, you don't care about the item, maybe it's low value anyway, you just want rid of it. Or for things that are damaged, I would say, they're maybe good, but they're damaged. No one's going to sort of, you'll just take what you can get for them, but they're worth, they're too good to throw away. In this case, this phone is pretty good. Yes, it's got a tiny bit of damage, but it's actually immaculate otherwise. So I'm going to go for a fixed price listing on this. If it didn't have anything missing, I'll probably pick a price of 55. As it's got this little problem, I'm going to say 45. As even though it's only a tiny piece of rubber, it's going to be a big downside for a lot of people. A lot of people think, oh, I can get, why would I have that one? But I can only need to pay £5 more to get one that's near enough perfect. So, because it's fixed price, it doesn't really matter so much when it ends. So I'm just going to start it. I don't want to wait a day to get this phone listed. The last one of these phones that I tried to sell, we had two of these. I sold the other one in less than 24 hours. So I could put this on sale now, and it might have sold by the morning. So coming down here, okay, the best offers are quite handy. I always let people make offers. The worst, if someone gives you a silly offer, you can just say no. So it's well worth accepting offers. The automatically accept offers is quite handy as well. Let's say if you've got a job where you can't be near your phone all the time, you can put that in, and that way your buyer doesn't have to wait 8 hours for them to get an answer. They can, if they're within, let's say £45, I'm going to take. If someone bids £40, I'll take that. So I'm going to put that in automatically. And if you're worried that people are going to lowball you, you can always put, I'm going to decline offers lower than 30, for instance. I'm not going to do that because if this is on sale for a long time, like right now, I don't want to take less than 40. But if I get desperate, or it's been on there for a month, then I might take 30. Maybe 40 is optimistic. So I'm going to leave that one empty for now. So if someone makes me an offer that's less than 40, it won't reject it. It'll just give it to me as, do you want to accept this offer or make a counter offer? When you click automatically accept, it will just do it for you. It'll just say your phone's sold. Just wait for them to pay. Okay, the next box, quantity. In this case, we've only got one phone, so that's easy peasy. And sell as a lot. That's when you're selling big bundles of stuff. But say you might be selling, you combine it with quantity, because you might have 10 bundles of stuff to sell, and your bundles of stuff might be made of other things. So that's when you would do that. In this case, we're not ticking sales a lot. We're just going to tick one. Private listing is, I'm going to leave that unticked because it doesn't really matter for a phone. A lot of people do click that. It's more important for, I'll say, sensitive items. So if you're selling an adult product or a medical product, it's a bit personal. It's not so much for you, but it's for the buyer. The buyer's not really going to want certain items showing up in their feedback. If they're sensitive items, so or particularly value items. Let's say that's another thing. Like really valuable items. So it's I will tend to leave that alone. But you can click if you want. It doesn't make any difference to hold your items for yourself. You can make a donation. You can give. If you make a donation to charity, you actually get a bit off your fees. So eBay will actually credit you some of your fees, and I'm sure that you actually get You get a little logo when you set on your item you're selling, and also I'm sure you get more views than other people do. So go on for this one. I'm going to put 10% Cancer UK because I can. It doesn't always work like that, but in fact, I'm sure the last time I sold that wasn't there. But you can. It's an option. So if you can do it, it's good. Okay, the next option is payment. So tick PayPal, and for fixed price listings, I always do tick require payment. There are some cases of some scammers will pretend they've paid and not paid, and when they haven't. So there is a way of actually doing that. So it's always good to tick that. Make sure you put your email address in there that's linked to your PayPal account. Otherwise, you'll have problems. Don't bother with additional checkout instructions. There are. I don't know why you'd use that. Return options. I've said I'm going to accept returns. So if you don't want to accept returns, you just untick it. I'm going to have 14 days. I don't really want to string it out any longer than that. And I know this is a pretty good phone, and I've been really honest in the listing, so I think it's only fair that if the buyer does want to return it, they pay the postage. The only time you would normally use the seller, pays for the return postage is if you're a serious business seller and you're selling clothes. It's quite a good selling point for you if you say, returns. I'll give you free returns. I'll give you, like a lot of major clothing outfits will give you a return envelope with your clothes. That's the only time you would use that. So always put the buyer pays it. Otherwise, I've said I'm not going to accept international buyers, so I'm not going to accept international returns either. And that brings on to delivery. Okay, you've got three choices. You've got flat, send cost to all buyers, which is the one we're going to pick. The other two are for usually big or heavy or very value items. So you've got at the bottom no postage, local collection only. So we use that for furniture and things like that. And courier, that's if you're doing, again, it's a big heavy lump, and you've actually found a member of the van who's going to take it somewhere for you. So flat, send cost to all buyers is what we're going to pick. This rate tables thing, that's again if you're a serious seller and you might have a deal set up with a courier or something, or you might know how much your items and so forth, so you can actually set up rate tables and things. I haven't got that. I don't need that, so I'm just going to ignore that. It's a good idea to do a bit of homework up front about your postage and what it's going to cost you to send your item. I know that to send this little phone, it's going to cost me with a signature. It's going to cost me about it's going to cost about £5 to send it by Hermes. To send it by signed for, it's going to be about the same, possibly a bit more, but it's a longer walk for me, honestly. So I'm going to put free postage for that one because it's more convenient for me. Anyway, because it's a fairly it's not an expensive item, but it's expensive enough to put free postage. Most buyers will expect free postage, and you can put your item on sale for more money and include the postage in that, and you'll get more sales than you will if you had put the postage on separately for some reason. It's a psychological thing, but people have done tests. And now that I do know how much it's going to go for, how much more expensive it's going to be, I'm going to put that price up. So I'm going to include that. And I'm going to offer one additional service. So I'm going to put it down to 4. And I think that's about right. You don't always have to put the full cost in. You can always just add a bit on. Sometimes it just depends what you want to do and how fast you want to sell it. I find that with auction items, I'll untick free P&P. I'll start my auction at 99p and I'll put the exact cost of the postage in. Because sometimes you will have things in at 99p. I'm going to put special delivery. I said I'll give them an option to get it there the next day. I think that's about £6.50. Can't remember, so I'm just going to round it for a bit. These will, if you live in a different part of the world, obviously all these options will be different to you, but the same practices still apply. It's good. You need to do your homework, find out what it's going to cost to post your things, and bear in mind sometimes within eBay the prices are different if you go externally to, say, a website or to your local sort of postage place. So I know that I can send anything by Hermes for it's under 2 kilos for £3, not with a signature or anything. That's just sending any old thing like a book. But if I try and do a book, the same book on myself outside of eBay, it'll cost more than that because the rates are different to kind of private clients. They've got some sort of deal with eBay, so excuse me. It is worth checking that way. I'm not going to offer local collection. My dispatch time is 1 working day. International postage. So here I'll show you what this is my sort of standard thing. If you are going to send your item international, you will stand a better chance of selling it if you do. But whatever you do, get a signature, get a tracked service, spend the money. Make the buyer pay for it, but make them pay that cost, but pay for it because certainly even domestically, if I don't get a signature, there's certainly a chance that the item will go missing. I've had lots of items go missing. I've never had an item with a signature go missing, ever. Even abroad, I've had one item not go missing, but the address was wrong, but it still came back. If you use tracks and sign stuff, you don't lose out. But if you try and skimp, now particularly when things go abroad, you've got an extra at least 2 layers of postal service, including your own domestic postal service. And also, if you don't get a signature, the buyer can just pretend it never arrived, and you've got no comeback on that. So yeah, pay for insurance, pay for tracked services, pay for signature. That's my recommendation. So, okay, moving on. Package weight and dimensions. So, you don't have to fill this in, but it's a good idea to. I'm just going to put 15 by 10. I don't know how big my box is essentially, but it's not going to be much bigger than this for a phone. This will affect your postage later on. I've made the mistake of not filling all this in, and if you say the weight, hopefully you'll weigh your item earlier. So I'm going to put 200 in there. I know it weighs 150, so it'll weigh probably 200 with a box. So I'll put 250 in there. If that was my item will probably be the same price all the way up to 2 kilos. Once it gets over 2 kilos, there's a big jump in cost. It nearly doubles with this particular carrier. So this is why it's worth finding out front. Also, if your box is, let's say if this box was 45 centimetres instead of 25, again the price will probably double with this particular carrier. So it is worth doing your homework up front. Exclude postage locations. Some people like to do this. I don't particularly. If you sell things internationally, like I said, you use insurance, you get a signature, you use a track service, your item will get there, or it'll come back to you. You won't lose anyway. So I've sent stuff all over the world, and I've never had a problem as long as you use the proper service. So you see some people like, oh, I won't send it to Romania, or I won't send it to Italy, personally I don't agree with it, or I don't think it's good business. I think, even if you have a problem there before, something I've had problems is because I've skimped on postage, not because people from a particular country are dishonest or something like that. So, I encourage you not to use that. Item location, just make sure you've got the right address in there. For returns, because if you use eBay's label printing system, it will print your address on it, and if it does come back, it'll go to the wrong place if you've got the wrong address. Okay, last leg. This is the sell it faster option. This is lets you promote your listings on eBay. So it means you come higher up the searches than other people. You won't come top of the list every time, but you'll come top of the list statistically a lot more than other people will be. So I used this function twice this week, and I've sold 2 items in less than a day by using this. But it does cost money. So it says here the trending ad rate is 5.2%, and that means people are going to spend 5.2% of the value of the item to get their item promoted. So the higher your percentage is, the higher up the list you're going to come, and the more often you're going to come top of the list, top of the search rankings. So essentially it means you're going to get more views, you're going to get more watches, and you're going to sell you're either going to sell more items or you're going to sell them faster. So the trending rate's 5%. I'm going to bang it up to 10%, so I come top of the list a lot more often. So that's going to cost £5.40. So what I might actually do is just squeeze the price up a bit. So I'm not going to squeeze it all the way because this phone is £46.99, because I know this phone's got a little defect on it. So I couldn't get, I think for the last phone I had, which was exactly the same model as this, just a different colour, but it was perfect. For that one I think I got 55 for it, so just going to squeeze that up, and hopefully we'll get an offer. So we might get an offer of 40, you know, if we put it on at 47. So yeah, but it's worth doing this, and there's a study to show that, let's say, you could put £5 worth of adverts on it, advertising, promotions, and put £10 on the price, and you'd still sell more than someone who had it £5 cheaper than you with advertising. So it is worth doing. Okay, the last thing, multi-buy, that's for offering discounts to people who buy lots of items. In this case, I've only got one phone, so it doesn't apply. Again, that's more for sort of serious sellers. Okay, before we click list with display fees, I'm going to click preview. It's always a good idea to do this in case I made a mistake somewhere. So the title looks okay, picture looks okay, £45. The postage is right, Hermes, a 14-day refund. It's got my other photos on there. There you go, it's telling everyone I'm a good guy, and I'm going to give 10% to cancer research. All these details are right. It's a Sony Xperia E3. And there you go. So you see on these things, a lot of the time you just see a tiny bit of writing up here at the top. All in the same, sometimes all in block caps, which is annoying, and all on the same size. So this again looks better, and the good bits stand out. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to close this now, and I'm going to click list with displayed fees. I hope you found this video useful. Don't forget, I've written a detailed guide to complement it, which you can find on my website. I'll leave a link in the description below. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you found this video useful, and please click the bell notification as well. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video.